Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the James Dreidel and Stam podcast.
Hello.
Jacob made a mess.
Mess made a Jacob.
Mess made a Jacob. As they say in the Caribbean. Look it up. Real fact. Are you not going to put them in nicely? You're just going to close it?
Well, it was like this. I'm just trying to get them upright.
Okay. Yeah, the 3D printed chessboard kind of making a bit of a difficult time. Man, the camera's a little crooked today.
You're a little crooked today.
You're always a little crooked. You have Menchie's brother. Okay. The game that we made at Menchie's Brothers was weird.
That was awesome. What are you talking about?
It was kind of awesome.
It had story to it.
I feel like the people that were working there at the time, besides Navi, were very confused. Like, Navi was not very confused. Jacob, one of them sideways.
It's fine. No, actually, no.
No, it won't close. What would be nice is if the lid didn't have that, like, organization bit. And it just closed. Like a lid. It doesn't do that. And then now you got one sideways again. Two, actually. Oh, yep. Is that one still sideways? Yeah, it is.
Where?
This one. Not that one. The black one on the edge. This is what's going to take up half the podcast. No,
Which
it's
one?
sideways. This one. There you go. Maybe I shouldn't have printed one that's that small. That's the size that it wanted it to be, though.
Couldn't have made
It
it
was
like.
designed for that.
Couldn't have like doubled the scale.
I could have, but then that would have used a lot of brown.
Well,
Which
it
is-
could have used a lot of blue.
It could have used a lot of blue. Actually, I made it black first.
What about a violet sky?
Oh. That's close enough, probably. Welcome, everyone. Why are we on different sides?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, God. The chess piece.
What?
One of the little black chess pieces.
You guys can give us a topic to talk about.
Give us a topic to talk about. How was your week? What have you been up to, Jacob?
Jack shit. It's spring break, yo.
Yeah, what have you fun done on spring break?
Sit on my computer and play Minecraft. As any would.
Not me.
Yeah, I know. What have you been up to on your spring break?
I work.
Man, our lives suck.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. You play Minecraft. You bought a rank on Hypixel, so I recall. Did you not?
You bought 2 cars on Fortnite?
Yes. Yes, I did. Also some wheels. So I spent some money. Didn't really play much Fortnite either. But I think I'm going to play some Fortnite tonight. So that'll be fun. We'll see. We'll see if the cars are nice. Bought the Ram TRX and the Jeep Wrangler. What'd you buy on Hypixel?
MVP, and then my friend gifted me MVP Plus.
So, since you already had MVP, was MVP Plus cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even to gift it to you?
Yes. It was only $15 to gift it to me instead of $48.
Okay.
Our deal was I buy the majority of it, he'll gift me the other half, so we can both do stuff in the game.
What do you get from it?
You unlock a bunch of warps, more inventory spaces.
More expanded from the normal Minecraft size?
It's more of like a, like I can put more armor sets in my wardrobe.
In your wardrobe?
And then I have more backpack slots, which are like inventories.
Okay, so like an extra
Yeah.
inventory, almost. I haven't played Hypixel in forever.
Also,
Wasn't that getting shut down?
Nope, that was Mineplex.
Mineplex got shut down.
I had a really rare rank on Mineplex. Someone gifted it to me. It was like $200, I think. It was something.
Wow.
It was something outrageous.
Why did it shut down?
They just moved to Bedrock instead of Java because they suck.
I feel like Bedrock reaches a wider audience, though.
I disagree. I mean,
I feel like a lot more
to an
people have,
extent.
like, PlayStations and Xboxes and
More
Switches.
people 100% play on console, but there's so many other console games to play. And you can make the same excuse for Minecraft, but when you're playing Minecraft on Java, you're playing for the servers, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or you're playing to play with other people,
Mm-hmm.
like big groups. Because, like, though I don't like Bedrock.
I don't like Bedrock neither.
Yeah,
I think it's too, like, fluid. Does that make sense?
kinda.
I don't like how, like, the command setup is.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't like the redstone. I like doing redstone in Java. I don't like it in Bedrock.
I'm pretty sure they are the exact same.
They are not. They are different.
Hmm.
I don't remember to the extent, but I remember that like the pulse extenders that I would build on Bedrock or on Java didn't work in Bedrock, or like TNT duping doesn't work in Bedrock.
That's a big
Which
one.
I think they also patched it in Java,
I think they just did recently.
but it worked in when I played. It worked in Java, and not Bedrock. There were a couple other things, but like I also don't like the emotes. I don't like that your players blink. I don't like. I think the swim animation's the same. I don't think it was.
It feels different.
It
in
does.
Bedrock. Everything
Feels different.
Yeah, and I just don't.
It's more saturated.
maybe I'm a
the textures are more saturated.
I might
in
be like
Bedrock
a
as well, I
stickler
think.
for it because I've been playing Minecraft since I was like 3.
Yeah.
So like I've had the game my entire life on Java. So whenever I play Bedrock, it's like a totally different thing. I don't like change. So
I don't either. And I liked when they were both the same.
they were the same for a little bit.
Yeah. And then Microsoft bought it and was like, well, we need a specific one for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, because they can't mod
yeah,
easily. You could mod
you can mod easily
on a PlayStation, but it's a lot easier to mod on a computer than on a PlayStation, because you practically had to hook the PlayStation to a computer to mod,
Mm-hmm.
and that was difficult. And a lot of people don't have both, and if they did, they just played Minecraft on the computer. So, it's a way to get around a difficulty in modding by buying the mods.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to buy all of them.
I
But
don't like the mine coins.
mine coins are dumb. You know that it's like, I think $9.99 can buy you 1,420 mine coins
See it?
on a
Why?
gift card, or
Why?
something like
Why
that.
are we putting currency in a game about survival?
Well, what I think is dumb. Why 1,420? Why that stupid of a number?
It's more than 100.
What is this currency? Yeah, I know it's more than 100,
It's like
but it's not 1,500.
I think it's more. Fortnite does the same thing.
Well, Fortnite, no.
It's like
Fortnite
$6 for,
does
like-
800, and then they do 2,200.
Yeah,
They do 1,000 and then 2,200. So you get that 200 bonus. If you spend like twice the amount of money,
it's like
you get
$7.
twice the
Isn't it
amount
like
plus a bit.
$7 for 1,000
On Minecraft?
on Fortnite?
No, it's $7.99
It
or
was
$8.99.
like the $19 Fortnite card, like things like that.
Yeah, like $20. I think
It's
it's
probably-
2,200.
It's probably like large consumer companies. They like to put like numbers that make them look a lot smaller and makes it look like you're getting a lot more. So instead of just getting 1,000, them putting 1,420 appeals to people more because you're getting more than how much the actual dollar is worth.
I guess.
And I think that's it. Like it's kind of like the 99.
It's just it's a weird ratio.
It's like the 99 cents thing. Like people started putting 99 cents on certain like foods, like $3.99, because it captivizes the consumer and they want to buy it more because it looks, one, cheaper, and two, it makes your eye go towards it more because it's a bigger number.
Yeah, it's like what they did with gas too. How gas is always like the price plus 9/10 of a cent, which is dumb because how do you calculate 9/10 of a cent? But then also, I heard it. Don't know if it's true, but tax on gas was like 50 cents a gallon.
Really?
I don't remember who I heard that from. I think it was someone at work, but that is crazy. And then people in other places. I was talking about it with you earlier, actually, about the retirement plans. How people are retiring and getting like checks for $500 a month.
You did not tell me that.
Did I not? I might have been talking to Ella. But there's people, because there's an old guy. I was talking to Ella. There's an old guy that comes into my work named Cliff.
What do you do for a living? Do you know?
He worked in hospitals.
Was he like a nurse or did he do like janitor?
I don't know. He just has a shirt that says Med Speed. But I know he lived in Texas for 40 years. So he, like, knew about this happening from people around him. But there were people that, like, with their retirement, they were only getting checks for $500 because I don't know if they didn't save enough or, like, that's just how bad inflation has been in Texas or what. But $500 a month, he said that there were old people that he'd always drive by that were sitting on their porch fanning themselves all day because they can't afford to cool their house.
Well, something about that is older generation, it wasn't until the 70s and 80s, so anybody before that, there was usually only one main income, and it was a stay-at-home mother.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, you're only getting one source of income, and that didn't really start changing until the 70s, 80s, and 90s, kind of after, like more radical expression changed, cultural shit.
Yeah.
It's a little different now that
Plus,
people actually need to have two sources of income. Back in the 60s, you could buy a house for like $50,000 instead of $500,000 today.
Yeah. Plus, he lived there. He lived in Texas for 40 years, I think. And he's in his 70s.
He's in his 70s? Yeah, that makes
I
perfect
think he's
sense.
in his 70s. So, yeah.
He was born in the 50s, probably bought a house. He probably moved to Texas in his like 30s, probably bought a house then. It was a lot cheaper now. Because housing market was good up to 2008. That's when the
housing market crashed.
That's when the housing market crashed with the banks, and then that's when the prices inflated big time.
Mm-hmm. See, I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do talk about that a little bit in debate about the rate of inflation on housing makes, one, it creates a gap in wealth.
Oh, like a massive gap in wealth.
People that have high incomes are going to get further separated from medium, and then the mediums that can afford houses are going to get separated from the lower income families who cannot afford houses and are stuck in apartments because they cannot move up to the next class.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything's always on a repeat. Like we can see this with white collar workers during like the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Where yes, they'd get paid more, but you need an education for that, but you can't get an education because you don't get paid enough to, and most people were forced to work as a child instead of getting an education.
Yeah.
And in most stances, like people's families would save up a bunch of money so they have the opportunity to go to school, and then someone would get sick and they'd ultimately get kicked out of the system. Like, famous billionaires like Rockefeller, he did not grow up into, like, he was not born into rich. He was, I think he was a second generation immigrant. So his parents moved here. He started low, and he built an empire because he was able to abuse the current system. And then he himself, sure, he did some stuff like the gospel of wealth, where, like, he gave back to the community. But him himself, he abused that own system to make people stay in the lower class.
So that he would stay in the upper class.
So he would stay in the upper class. And Rockefeller is known to be the richest man ever, in that in the 1910s, he had about $1 billion total net worth. And at the time, a hamburger was worth 15 cents.
Oh my god. So he with any rich people, you don't get like filthy rich, stupid rich without pushing people out of the way, without shoving people down.
Without abusing the system.
Yeah, abusing the system and your fellow people. If you are the boss of a company, you're paying people like where I freaking work. You're not making too bad of money. You're not. But you're paying your employees fairly low and keeping a lot of that money for yourself as the CEO.
And you can see that as your prices. You can see somebody walk in, buy something, like buy some stuff that's worth more than the entirety of everybody's paycheck in an hour.
Oh, absolutely,
like
dude.
An entire week. Like,
dude, literally we have people that come in that spend like $400 or $500. You buy a ferret, it's $400. You buy the stuff for a ferret and a ferret, it's like $700. And I almost make that in a paycheck, and I work full time. But we don't have enough hours for our cashiers to work 20 hours a week.
Your store's a little different because, one, they got bought out by a company. Pet Supplies, PSP.
Yeah, well, they were owned by Franchise Group, who is now going bankrupt.
Yeah. So does that mean they're going bankrupt as
well?
No,
Pet Supplies Plus can buy themselves out from Franchise Group when it finalizes. But for now, franchise group is going bankrupt. I think they filed for bankruptcy, but they're not actually bankrupt yet.
But like
I think that's how that works.
but you can see like how modernization has really led to continuity, because these companies still abuse their workers even though it's not as extreme, and monopolization is still occurring in its stance, and it's actually causing harm. Like car industry, Tesla's basically taking over because Elon Musk, he has prioritized, because he's one in the government, has the government of like Doge or whatever the it is. Is that what it is, Doge?
I don't know what Doge means. I know
It's
the
like
coin.
it's the Department of Government
Bitcoin.
Efficiency. He's firing people.
Uh,
And you can
which,
also,
by the way, we shouldn't have unelected officials in government.
oh, yeah, happens.
I guess so.
It's same thing happened during the Andrew Jackson administration with this little cabinet. It's called the kitchen cabinet, because they would all meet and they. Have you ever seen the movie Pixels? Where like
Yeah.
you know how like he has like his little group of friends, the president does.
Yeah, and they hide in the back.
That is exactly what one, Trump is basically doing right now, and two, what the Andrew Jackson. Trump makes all of his policies based off of like before we had income tax. So he's like, we should put tariffs on countries. The only reason why that somewhat worked is because one, our government is not as large. Our population was way smaller compared to how much it is now. Everything was way cheaper. We were not the largest trading partner ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even see the downsides when we did put tariffs. One, the nullification crisis. During the McKinley administration, he put hard tariffs down. He got assassinated eventually because of it, because it brought rough times onto the Americans. But you can see a pattern in what happens when you give tariffs. People are going to put tariffs back.
Though, let me tell you, I was talking... let me tell you something.
Let me tell you.
I was talking to my dad and sister about that. All we really did was match the tariffs that are already placed on us by them.
Not Canada.
So, Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, Mexico had this high tariff. It costs like nothing to get U.S. goods, or to get Mexican goods in, but it costs a lot to get U.S. goods in.
Yeah, but the issue
and
is...
isn't it the same with China, I think?
No.
Like,
China's was a lot lower and we raised it.
Okay.
China's was only around...
What about Canada? What's the issue with Canada?
We had no tariff on Canada, and they had no tariff back. We were in good trading. We were in an agreement. It was like... It used to be like the Mexico-Canada agreement or something like that, but then they got rid of Mexico out of it, and it was just the United States-Canada agreement.
Yeah, because Mexico...
It was like
tariffs.
the UFCFTA, I think.
Okay.
It was like some...
Like wrestling, UFC?
It was like a free trade agreement. It was a free trade agreement with like the Northern American countries.
Okay. Yeah, which we definitely don't have anymore.
Yeah, because we impose tariffs on Canada, 25%.
Though
tariffs.
but I understand the ones against Mexico if we're just matching.
Yeah,
but I thought that was on all the countries from how they made it sound.
But what I don't understand is, why are we implementing tariffs on allies? Like, I understand China, right? We don't want them to succeed. We're currently actually lowering our trade and moving more towards Mexico because, one, they're a closer ally and we want to work with them more. But at the same time, we're also treating them poorly, which reflects bad on us, which makes us have a bad big brother stance that we originally had during the 1930s, right after World War One.
Yeah, with our administration building, I don't know if I can say it, but practically a concentration camp.
Oh, Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah, in Guantanamo Bay.
So the thing about Guantanamo Bay is they're changing it. Now, there's no direct evidence that they're going to use it to torture, but Mexico is not accepting the deportations. Where are we supposed to put immigrants?
I guess I understand that.
But the thing is, it's not...
But...
Morally, it's incorrect.
Yeah.
But I understand his point.
No, I understand why you would need more beds. I understand that. Why did they make it the exact amount of beds as Auschwitz? 30,000.
Probably because... I don't know how many immigrants they're sending there.
I don't know, but that seems a little bit, like...
They're not going to commit...
Naziist.
They're not. That's not going to happen.
It seems like neo-Nazis.
We did leave the Human Rights Council in the UN, though. I don't know if you saw that. We did that a couple months ago.
We did leave the Human Rights Council.
Because while we were talking about the International Criminal Court for debate, that was a big thing we were talking about. I don't
Aren't
know.
we? Doesn't Trump want to leave NATO too?
I don't know. Like probably. The thing about NATO
I think
is
he talked about leaving NATO.
NATO is a military agreement during the Cold War. So Russia, well, the Soviet Union would not attack these poorer countries. But now Germany is one of the highest economies in the world, has a strong military. UK has nuclear capabilities. We have Israel, close ally, who has nuclear capabilities.
It counts. It
Well, they
counts.
don't say they do, but they obviously do.
Yeah.
But we can still maintain allies.
Don't they have the Iron Dome too?
Yes, they do have the Iron Dome.
Yeah, I love the Iron Dome. I said that before on the podcast.
So does
too.
Taiwan. Do you know that?
They also have an Iron Dome.
It's called Skybow.
Skybow. That's dumb. Call it the Iron Dome.
No, it's Skybow 3.
Call it the Golden Sphere. The Platinum Circle. Air Circle of Platinum.
Something that's like kind of upsets me is I think Taiwan is most likely going to get invaded in this decade.
You think so?
Yes. And something that's bad about that is one, CHIPS Act. That hurts the CHIPS Act, even though Trump's trying to get rid of it. We get most of our microchips and chips from Taiwan. They had the great economic miracle boom in like the 90s, 80s and 90s, kind of like how Japan did when they started creating like VCRs. Nintendo got popular then. Like all these companies started modernizing, right? So we have like Taiwan, they had the great economic miracle of the semiconductor industry. If we lose that trade, we lose companies like NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one of the popular ones. There's a couple more that are stationed in Taiwan. though.
NVIDIA stationed in Taiwan?
I believe so. Let me look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I believe you, but holy crap, we can't. If we lose NVIDIA, we lose like computers, right?
I'm pretty sure they house like 80% of all advanced semiconductors.
Oh my god, NVIDIA or Taiwan?
Taiwan.
That's crazy. Who do you think would invade Taiwan?
Over 90% of the world's most advanced chips, with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company being a major player in this section. So they create the chips and they'll send them off to companies like NVIDIA, AT&T.
And that's also why cars became so expensive a few years ago, is because of the chip shortage because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get the chips from Taiwan.
And now they're getting even more expensive because we just implemented tariffs on the automobile industry.
Yeah, which is dumb because people are like, don't buy, Hyundai, Honda, stuff like that. Honda has a factory, I believe, in Georgia. So it's a Japanese car, but it's made in the U.S., it's given the U.S. workers jobs, and they don't have to pay those tariffs.
Mm-hmm. Also,
Now, does
don't
that
think
make it an American vehicle? No.
I don't think we put tariffs on Japan.
Did we not? No, we just did China and the one above and below, didn't we? Canada, Mexico. I feel like there was already some on Japan. Did we?
Oh yeah, for tariffs we did.
Oh yeah, because they're requested like amnesty or something.
Yeah, they're trying
And
to solve
JD
it.
Vance was like, "No, let me tell you. The best way to get around our tariffs is to build your factories in America." Now, who's going to do that? What small Japanese manufacturer? Like, I understand, like, Subaru. Honda already does. Toyota. Stuff like that.
It costs more money for us to produce our own stuff.
Yeah, that's why we outsource.
That's why we're one of the largest imports and we're one of the largest exports, because we make money on exports, but we make more money on our imports because we use our imports for more exports.
Yeah.
It all
Right.
comes in. We create higher quality items to ship off to other countries.
Yeah, and we use components. A lot of things that say made in America have made in China components in them. We just take those components in, we reassemble, and we send it back out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, I can almost guarantee, you look at an iPhone, it's going to say made in China somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Is the phone made in China?
Probably.
Probably. But if it were to be made in America, or say a Tesla, right? Tesla's made in America.
Mm-hmm.
There is 0 chance that every component in that vehicle is made in America. 0 chance. We had to get it from some other country. It was probably either Taiwan, Malaysia, or China.
I want you to listen to this, and I want you to see what we would do.
Okay.
So, in 1976, the United States signed an agreement called the Taiwan's Relations Act, okay?
Okay.
In this agreement, they pledged to support Taiwan if the people were endangered by an outside source, okay?
Are we the outside source?
Would the invasion of Taiwan from China make the United States join a war in Taiwan?
Yes.
Would it, though? One, why do we have to follow that agreement? Two, on the stance of this, President Biden said that we would support Taiwan at all costs, but Trump has said that we will not, and also that we will at the same time.
Well, but Trump is two-faced.
Yeah, but that's the issue. He's two-faced and our president.
Yeah, we can't really know what he's going to do because he is unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. And
he doesn't do what's best for the American people. He does what's best for the upper class.
so something about the war in Taiwan, if war would happen, blockade immediately from China. Let's be for real. They're not going to allow exports or imports.
Yep.
Now, the only thing that Taiwan has an advantage on is they're small. And that means, and they have a very mountainous region.
So we can pick them up and move them.
Yep. Anyways, they're high
Guerrilla warfare.
They have like a very high like mountainous region, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to land on an island like that.
Yes. So they'd have to come in navally.
But the other issue is Taipei is their only main city,
Yeah, that's true. If that gets bombed.
and they only have enough ammunition to last like 3 months. Like it's
that bad?
It's that bad. You have to remember, this is a small country with a population around 6 million people.
Oh, wow, that's like...
And most of them are from Taipei. So it's literally not even the size of Ohio. Like, it's that small. Imagine Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
Wow. It's... Complete side note, remember where you were.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is massive.
I think China's bigger.
Yeah, but... Texas? Alaska? Alaska's half the size of the United States.
No. It
Is
looks
it
like
not?
that on a map. It's just because once you get closer to the equator...
Well, yeah, I guess it shrinks, doesn't it? But still. It's massive. Like, states are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Australia, can't Australia fit in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah. Texas, actually, I think there's a picture of Texas
I think
takes
the
up
United
most
States...
of Australia.
I think the United States is the 4th largest country. I think it goes United States, China, Canada, Russia.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Canada's got a lot of islands.
Or it might be like...
Canada has a lot of islands. I feel like Canada and Russia
Canada's
are close.
very large. No, Russia's huge, dude.
I guess, yeah. Russia is...
Literally, from Ukraine to Japan.
Yeah, I guess it's like the size of North America. Maybe not that big.
It's
but
larger than North America.
It's larger than the entirety?
Not the entirety, but most of it.
Land mass wise, yeah, I can see it being close.
Yeah, but anyways, so back to our Taiwan thing.
Yeah.
So I did research on this a bunch, and if a blockade were to happen, China is dependent on Taiwan for food, which is weird, right? But it's also
How?
flipped. They're both dependent on each other for food. And
So they like source different things from each other.
so they're both going to faminize themselves. They're both going to commit famine on each other because they need each other to support each other.
That's whack.
I know, right? And so millions of people are going to die from famine if this war would happen. Which is sad. That is sad
Now,
reality.
why does China want to invade Taiwan?
Because
Because of their resources?
do you know the history of why Taiwan exists?
No, I don't.
So Taiwan was at one point China. It was the Democratic Republic of China. After World War II, the Democratic Republic of China was created, and this was after Japan took most of it. So the Allies just kind of rewrote Asia, kind of like they did in Africa during the carving of Africa, and United States gained influence.
What a cool name.
What?
The carving of Africa.
Oh yeah. That was,
Oh, I carved Africa.
Oh, it was terrible though.
Imagine being the guy that's like, this is Egypt.
You mean no? It was more. They're already there. It was more of I get this. Okay, you get this. I get this. You get this. I get that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was just like imperialistic ideals from all European countries. The United States tried to join. The same thing kind of happened before World War One in China. The United States got the Philippines. Our imperialism was kind of more of our image. We had Teddy Roosevelt's big stick policy, where he carries around a big stick with the white fleet, and it's like, our Navy's the strongest in the world, don't fuck with us or we'll kill you. That's why we opened up trade, because before us, Japan was closed. Like, they were closed to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
United States was like, trade with us or look at our giant fleet. Or like, so we brought a big old ship and we're like, trade with us. And they were like, okay.
And now they're a pretty big trade partner.
Yeah, but that was before World War II, so it's all out of the bucket. So
Yeah. Before the trade ordinance and
Mhm.
everything.
But yeah, that happened. What was I talking about? China. Okay, so basically, so this was before communism struck. It was weak government, and the Sun Shao clan. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's probably a different thing, but they ruled the Democratic Republic of China, so the DRC. Democratic
Sounds
Republic
like
of
the
Congo.
Congo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, it was bad economic times, masked with unpopular opinions of the current leader, leads to the need for change. And we see this all through history. Italy, Mussolini, Germany, Hitler. Like, you can see this as a common trend. This happened in China. So,
And America!
and not America.
In
Oh.
a year or two. Probably.
But
Keep going.
when bad economic times hit and people are hungry, they want change. So once a new idea gets with a one-party system where one person can change that factor, popular opinion rises, and then the People's Republic of China gets created. And this rebel group, they almost lost, but there's like this famous thing that happened with like their horses, and they like killed everyone.
The horses did?
No, the people did, but like
What?
they basically drove them to Taiwan, and that's why they're there, and that's why
Okay.
communist China. And then Mao Zedong, with like his Great Leap Forward, killed like millions of people
Okay.
from Great Famine.
Why don't you be a history teacher?
I just love this stuff. I learn
Yeah,
about
no,
it all
it's-
the time.
It's cool. It's really cool that you know all this, because I'll try to remember some of it, I promise. I'll
Yeah.
listen back to this podcast.
Yeah, but he like implemented like the Great Leap Forward. Well, I know I keep talking about it. It's just terrible what happened.
What is the Great Leap Forward?
They basically, I think they tried to make so much farmland and like tried to. Okay, so post 40s, that's when pure industrialization. I know 1865 was the Industrial Revolution, but by the 1940s, if you were not an industrial power, you were nothing. And we can see this like even during World War II. Countries like Kenya just got easily taken by like Italy because they were literally fighting against their tanks with bows and arrows.
Oh my god.
So it's kind of
Dang, dude, that's like inhumane.
So it's kind of impossible to win if you're underdeveloped nation.
Yeah.
And you can even see it like during the Boxer Rebellion in like the 1900s in China. The people were literally trying to fight with like spears and like shurikens and stuff with guns. And the Boxers actually believed that this is actually the thing. I think this is really funny. They thought they were immune to bullets. So they ran full speed at them while they had muskets and guns, and they shot and killed them all.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's the Boxer Rebellion.
Good good luck to you. Guys.
Yeah, but the
could have used it.
The Great Leap Forward was China's attempt to industrialize really quickly, and it failed because their food system had created famine, and they all died, and a large portion of them died because of that.
Yikes.
And he rolled to his death, and then someone else replaced him, and someone else replaced him, and someone else replaced him. And eventually, yeah, they did get it, but like in the 1990s, China's military was hollow. And while yes, they were we wanted to trade with them really badly to get like an upper edge on the Soviet Union, because one, we wanted good relations with them because that's three communist nations in Asia. One, we already don't have good relations with two of them because of the Vietnam War, and then the Soviet Union, obviously, which was our biggest competitor.
Yeah.
So we wanted to try to open trade. It actually talks about this in Forrest Gump.
Really?
Where he like, have you watched Forrest Gump?
Yeah, it's been a while.
You know when he goes like to do ping pong and stuff?
Nope.
You don't remember ping pong, Forrest Gump?
I don't. Maybe it's been a long, long time since I've seen it.
You know how he goes to, like in the military, right?
Okay, maybe I didn't see it. I thought
Okay.
I've seen it. Sure, go on.
Okay, he goes into the military, like saves his friend, then he gets shot in the butt, and
Ow.
he gets like, so he plays ping pong for the military. And then he gets better, and then he goes to China to represent the United States and beats them in ping pong. Yeah, but
That's what the story of Forrest Gump.
that's part of it.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
That's not what I was expecting.
But that's
Isn't-
kind of he lives throughout the Cold War. That's kind of the whole story.
Okay. I remember life is like a box of chocolates, something like that.
You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, that.
I remember that. That's all I got.
Yeah,
And run, Forrest, run.
yeah, but that's how Taiwan was created through a revolution, which created a communist regime in the heart of Asia.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
And that's why they don't like them, because did you know that the United States doesn't even like recognize Taiwan as a country?
Really?
Yeah, we don't. It's
Do we
part of-
recognize him as a territory?
It's part of the one China policy the United States has with China, that they only recognize one China. And we
Taiwan's not China.
well, they technically are,
Technically,
because they were once
they're the Democratic
Republic
of China. But they renamed themselves to Taiwan, did they not?
Kind of.
Kind of. Not as recognized by us.
We call them Taiwan. I think they still identify as the people, like the Democratic Republic of China.
Where did we get Taiwan from then?
Because that's the island.
The island of Taiwan. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So it's the people of Taiwan because they live on the island of Taiwan. Is that why?
It was just the Republic of China, but
Okay, not the Democratic Republic.
it's not, it's. I mean,
but it's a
Republic.
Democratic Republic.
It's a Democrat. Yeah,
So,
they held elections.
it works.
That was fair.
Yeah. Something we should do.
I think the election.
That's.
I think the election was fair, but
I think so too. I think the news made it not fair.
But like the thing about Republicans is most of them are older, and they are online. So, obviously, your local farmer Joe's not going to be ranting on Twitter about how Trump's the best, and that's the reality of it. If you look, most of the states that were blue are higher income states, like Massachusetts, for example, or New York. All these they're centered around like social media in high.
Yeah, and they're
areas.
also very educated.
Mm-hmm.
The very uneducated states, especially down south,
like Alabama,
and out to the west.
mostly farmers.
Yeah,
Farmers that don't use social media and live on like off the grid, basically, voted for Trump to an extent.
yes, because they don't know all the policies. Like you always see those videos. I always got those videos on TikTok where they were like, it was like everything Trump plans to do, which is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But those videos didn't reach the people that needed to see them.
Mm-hmm.
What reached them is Trump is the best. Trump's gonna fix our country, and not Trump is gonna crash immigration into the ground and crash our economy.
And also, the thing with that,
And try to start a war with every country that exists.
the thing with that is the reason why Kamala lost the election in the first place was because one, J.D. Vance is the governor of like the Senate of Ohio.
Yeah.
So he already had like power in Ohio. We were gonna win that no matter what. But the reason why Biden won Pennsylvania was because he was from Scranton, Pennsylvania originally. If you didn't know that, and that was one of his big election things. It was like
I'm from here.
it was like a chill guy, like who's experienced the struggles of a middle class family, or like a lower income family.
And that's what Kamala tried to do too, isn't it?
Yes, that's kind of like what the Democrats try to do. They try to
Empathize.
Emphasize with emphasize with like the
Empathize. They
Yeah.
tried it. Say it again. Say it again.
empathize.
No, say the sentence again. I'll say
Emphas-
empathize.
Well, the Democratic Party tries to
Empathize.
on like
Empa.
they try to make it so people can relate to
Empathize.
like they've been in your situation, so they know what to do to change.
Yeah.
Well, hello?
Sorry for that, y'all. We had to have our weekly Ella cameo.
Yeah.
Our weekly phone call. The past 4 podcasts, there's been a phone call on each of them. Oh, Nectar. Oh, hello. That's where it ended last time. And then I was like, sorry, I had to cut out that 20 minutes. It was bad. Anyway, what were we talking about? Foreign relations. We were talking about Trump.
Yeah. Democratic
How
Democratic
Kamala
Party.
lost.
Well, Kamala lost because one, she was way late in the game,
Yes.
like really late.
Really late.
Like changing a candidate that early, and Trump says he won by a landslide. No, he did not. He won by like
Really didn't.
the vote-
Actually,
this has been the most split it's been in a long time.
if uneducated Americans didn't vote, Kamala blasted him out of the water. The only reason that Trump won was because uneducated Americans, specifically non-college educated Americans,
This is what a sweep looks like. The election of 1972. I'm going to show you guys this. Richard Nixon versus George McGovern. He got
won. What
13.
a stupid name. What was his vice president's name? Because it's also stupid.
Who? Nixon?
No, McGovern.
George McGovern? I don't know what it was.
Look it up. Look up what George McGovern's VP was. Because it's a equally as bad name as McGovern. I remember this, remember this because I did a Jackbox pack and it said it. Running mate.
Eagleton.
Eagleton.
Yeah, but that. Well,
Yeah, what an American duo. Eagleton and McGovern.
Yeah, but a sweep is when they maybe get 1 or 2 states. Like McGovern only got Maryland. Nixon got all other 49 states.
And Nixon was Republican.
Nixon was a Republican.
So he scored every Democratic state besides Maryland. How did he get Maryland? How did McGovern get Maryland?
I don't know, but you can see like others examples of this. Like there's probably a worse one too.
Probably.
Here's the 1964 election.
Johnson and Goldwater. Oh my gosh.
Like
He only got like 5.
he only got 5 states.
6.
Yeah, 6
Yeah.
states. Like he didn't win California. He didn't win any high-ranking states.
Yeah.
Like Pennsylvania, Maryland. Maryland's actually kind of mid.
Ohio as well. Ohio's a swing. It's like a tire swing.
Yeah, but like even if you look at the popular vote, it's still not even that much off.
That's true. That's true. Popular vote, they were like 70-30, 65-35.
Is there any?
But he only lost 1 state.
What's-
That's why I know it's like proven wrong. But that's why I always think that
I think his was worse.
ours is the say that the people have in the government is not enough.
Yeah, FDR.
Yeah.
I think it was this. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look how deep.
Though all the
blue it is.
up north on the East Coast turned red.
This was so how it basically shifted was the Republican Party used to be like advocating for like no slavery. It was basically to implement change against the current Democrat Party. And it kind of flipped sides because of McKinley. Like I'm pretty sure what's his name? He got assassinated.
JFK?
Yes, JFK was Republican.
Yeah. Because there's a big controversy that RFK was going to run Democrat. But JFK was Republican, and he wasn't following it. I believe. He was Republican.
Yeah, he was conservative.
Yeah.
So, like, now there's nothing wrong with a conservative president. Don't get me wrong about that. It's just the pick has been wrong. Like, Al Gore, I think Al Gore was actually Democrat.
Is that a real...
Yes.
Al Gore. Oh, yeah. Huh. I forget that guy existed. Didn't he only run 4 terms?
Yeah. He wasn't a president.
No?
He was,
I thought he was.
You know, he was the runner-up against Bush.
Yeah. That's where I know his name from.
Yeah, but if you look at, like, the 2008 and 2012 election, the candidates weren't terrible. But they were up against Obama, so they lost.
Yeah. Because Obama was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Best president of the century.
I was about to say. We got George Washington and we got Obama.
Of course, he didn't do some great things, like he bombed that children's hospital.
Obama
Mm-hmm.
bombed the children's hospital?
Like, he kind of sweeped.
That's not bad.
He kind of sweeped.
Mm-hmm.
He did get 130 more votes over.
I would not call that a sweep. He swept the East Coast.
Remember.
Northern East Coast.
But a reason why I kind of, like, don't respect politics anymore is because it used to be like this. Like, back in the day, it was obvious winners.
Yeah.
Now it's split nearly 50-50 down the line, and everyone got so much more rude.
Dude, everyone got so rude.
Yeah, Mitt Romney, he died. Mitt Romney died, I think. He had, like, a tumor or something, and he died.
Dang.
He was a nice person.
Yeah.
We liked Mitt Romney, and he was very nice. Have you seen, like, a presidential debate besides Trump in it?
Yeah, I have.
It's like
They're always respectful. They shake their hands.
And they're not like behind podiums or like sitting together having like a good conversation, and they like agree with each other's points.
And then Trump and Biden, granted, Trump and I understand that it was after COVID, but even last election before COVID, when Trump became president, they were far apart and behind podiums and making fun of each other. Trump is very good at making fun of people. People think he's funny, so they look more into it. They like it more.
I'm trying to look for more election sweeps. We don't like this guy, by the way.
We don't like Douglas? Stephen Douglas?
You know Lincoln Douglas debate?
Yeah.
Based off of these two.
Oh, that makes sense.
Lincoln Douglas. This was a good election. He actually won a swing state.
I see that. Who's that?
Buford.
Buford? I feel like I've heard that name.
Harry Buford.
Harriet Buford.
This was a close election.
JFK and Nixon?
Yes.
Both presidents.
Yes. Kennedy won that, though. And then he was assassinated, and then Ford took over.
Yep. And then Nixon won the next one? No, Nixon won the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Reagan committed Watergate. I always get those two mixed up. Reagan and Nixon.
Yeah, I thought Nixon was Watergate. Nixon came after Reagan did it, right? Nixon was VP? Right? Nixon was VP of Reagan?
It was Nixon that did.
It was Nixon that did Watergate?
It was Nixon that did Watergate.
Okay. So yeah, we're just getting them confused.
See, I always mix them up. Ronald Reagan was a good president.
Yeah.
Look at that guy.
Look at that guy. See, even presidents used to look more respectable too.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to be for the people.
Ronald Reagan was actually a very famous man before he got into office.
Really?
Yes.
Was he an actor? There was one president that was an actor, right?
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah.
Trump's also an actor.
Yeah, I know Trump's an actor. I've seen some things he's been in.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
Down the
Yeah,
hall
he
to
was
the
in
left.
Home Alone.
Yeah, but
That's why everyone voted for him. Not last election, though. This election, yeah.
Yeah, American politician and actor who was the 40th president.
Okay. See, if you establish a name for yourself that's other than I'm a rich man that had to tread over the poor to get here.
He was a good president. Like, he gave a very infamous speech.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare.
I feel
That's his speech. That's not the preamble to the
that is
Constitution,
the
y'all.
preamble to the Constitution.
I had to memorize that in Mr. Jeffrey's 6th grade class. 7th grade class? 7th grade class. For bonus points, I had to memorize it, and I didn't get up and recite it, so I memorized it for no reason.
Yeah, it was at the Berlin Wall.
Oh, yeah, the tear down this wall speech.
Tear down this wall speech.
Yeah.
You'll never see another president do something like that again.
No, they'll just bomb the wall down. Who cares about
See,
the
look
lives
at all
of
the
others?
American, German flags. Like, you don't see that anymore.
No, you don't.
You see boos, and that's why I don't like politics anymore. Because, like, it's rather you hate them or you like them. And
There's no in between.
There's no in between anymore.
At all. There's no respect and there's no in between. And if you're right, the other person's wrong.
See, I think
There's no way to talk to someone that is a hardcore Trump supporter and convert them on anything that is not a Trump ideal.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
And, like, I feel like Obama was, like, the real last good president. I mean, actually, I take that back. Biden was a good president.
Biden was a good president.
He actually fueled one of the best U.S. economies ever, especially after post-COVID.
Though
During his administration,
the price of eggs shot up
that was because
in
of
his administration. That was because of COVID.
That was because
Was it
of
not?
the disease affiliated with eggs, and it's still happening right now. That's why the egg prices went up, because there was a disease in the eggs.
Yeah. The bird flu.
Yeah, bird flu. Bird flu.
Bird flu. RFK, what's he doing? Look at that guy. He still got what he wanted, kinda. I'll give you the bird flu, Jacob.
Please don't.
How do you get it from me? You have to eat me?
I don't know.
But
Yeah, but the reason why you can't, they have to go through a different thing now to make sure they're safe to eat, and that made them inflate heavily. And also, see the stock market starting to crash real bad.
oh yeah, I know.
Because of Musk, because
Yeah.
of uncertainty, and it's because the United States is being ambiguous in the stock market because we don't know, because of the current tariffs that are happening, and Musk is not helping with this because he's saying all these things, and they're basically just causing economic disruption because people are afraid to invest in a stock market when they're not confident in the United States economy as we speak.
Yeah.
And when more people leave, that causes more people to go out because it's a common trend of going down when it crashes.
Right, if you see that your stock is going down, you're going to sell when it's high.
Mm-hmm.
People then, once it gets low enough, buy again.
And then people start pulling out of the banks because they're afraid that other people are going to start. It's the Great Depression. That's what happened. And then the banks could no longer.
Though now banks have a backup, do they not? Through the government?
They do, but
only to a point.
only to a point. I mean, if everybody pulls all their money out at the same time, the United States in circulation is way more than $33 trillion.
Yes.
Like, a
Yeah.
lot more. How many millionaires are there in the United States? Hey Siri, how many millionaires are there in the United States?
18.6
Hey, Siri.
million millionaires.
What is 18.6 million times 1 million? To the 13th. Hey Siri, what is 1.86 times 10 to the 13th power? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
1, 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million, billion, 10 billion, 100,
18 trillion?
18 trillion, just for millionaires. And that's if they only all had $1 million. That's only 18 million people that hold at least that much money.
That's not a lot, dude. My grandparents are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
That seems 18.6 million. How many people live in the U.S.? 256 million?
330.
Dude, oh my god, I was reading something the other day. The census could be drastically off because they very, very poorly predicted how many people live in rural areas of America.
Like how much?
Of everywhere, actually. I think it's more than a few million, but they don't think that it's 8.6 billion people on the planet because they vastly underestimated how many people live in lower populated areas. They're not as low populated as they thought.
I'm pretty sure it's like 8 billion.
It's 8.6 right now, I think. But they think that there's a lot more than that now. Oh, exactly 8 billion. Okay. But
It takes about a decade for it to go up.
yeah, but what I'm saying is there's groups that now think that they vastly underestimated how many people.
When my parents were born, there were 3.6, so it's nearly doubled.
Plus, what are we going to do with all the extra people? It's exponential growth. It's not a straight line.
There's 318 million people.
In the U.S.?
Yeah.
It's about to start getting exponential, though.
Probably not. I disagree with that. I think
Really?
one
I
because
feel like more people are accidentally at this point having more kids than
the
than
ban.
what was.
I don't know if you saw this, but the ban on abortions. I don't think it's happened yet, but women are like refusing to have sex with men because of it.
Censor that out, Dresden. From the future.
Yeah, but there was this big thing on TikTok about it I saw
Yeah.
where people are refusing because why should we let somebody do that if they just voted for me to have my rights taken away?
Yeah, that's real. Like, if a dude is like, no, you can't have an abortion, now let me get you pregnant. The guy's, in most cases, I would think, if it was an accident, the guy would also want the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy, I don't want to be a dad. If I were to get someone pregnant, I don't want them to be a mom, I don't want to be a dad. Even if I voted, like, abortion is murder, or whatever they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I've seen arguments on that, too. If abortion is murder and abortion is aborting a child as soon as the abortion can start, then why do people not get checks for that child? Healthcare checks and stuff. Welfare checks, what are they called? Or like if you get pregnant and then the guy leaves, why do they not get that, like, whatever that money check is called? What is that called?
Welfare.
Is that what it is when the, like, in a divorce?
Oh, child support.
Child support, yes. If the parents should start getting child support, mothers should start getting child support as soon as that baby starts developing. Because if that's considered murdering a child, then it's still a child. You should still get money every month for that child, even if you're carrying it. Or else it's not a child, therefore abortion is not murder.
I can understand the argument why it could be considered as murder, but at the same time, you have to look, is it justifiable?
From a religious context, does that child have a soul yet?
I don't think it should be looked at from a religious context.
I don't either, because religion is dumb and all based off of paganism. And Nordic mythology.
Are they sentient? Do they hold feeling?
Yeah. Do they? Yeah, because if they're conscious, if they're sentient, when a baby is in a mother's stomach, it's not seeing the world. It's not. It may be thinking. There may be brainwaves. All right, there's brainwaves in fish. I looked it up. Shrimp are able to feel emotion, and shrimp are able to feel pain, and they're able to react and respond to it.
That was last podcast.
Yeah, I know. We looked it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we need to stop eating shrimp because they can feel pain.
Bugs have brain waves, and most bugs can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Or don't have any sentient.
I must be a bug.
Or like even like the smallest forms of life, they have waves of life, but yet we still
kill them.
Like this.
Even
I
bacteria.
probably just killed a bunch of skin cells. Like
yeah. Well, that's different. But the things living on your skin that you just killed.
Yeah.
Or like every time I like itch my head and I kill all those little bugs, little critters that are in my hair.
No,
Is it a massacre every time I shower? Is it a genocide in my head?
I think there's two arguments for it. I think if you messed up and didn't use protection and you got pregnant, and you have no justifiable reason on why it should be, like if you are not in a good financial situation, that is a justifiable reason for getting an abortion.
Yeah.
If you cannot afford this child,
Don't make the child suffer.
Don't make the child suffer, exactly. And don't make yourself suffer based off of it. If you are physically...
And even going
and
off
like,
into adoption is still causing that child to suffer
I
to
know,
some
right?
degree.
And it's like, if you're... And it's another argument is like, if you're mentally not well... What'd you just do?
I had to sneeze, but it didn't come out.
No. I don't know. I feel like it should be... If you can make it justifiable, then I think it's right. But I think it's the right of a woman to make that herself justifiable, not the law.
Yeah.
So if you think if you think you have a good reason for it, then by all means, it's your God-given right for it.
Yeah. No, I agree. But if you don't have a reason, if your family's full of millionaires, you've got a lot of money, and you get pregnant because you decided not to use a condom, and you decided you didn't want to be on birth control because it would mess with your hormones, and you get pregnant, aborting that child that would live a good life, most likely, unless you're abusive, is wrong.
What I disagree with that on then is I still think it is your God-given right to your own body. And
That's true.
And why would...
What if you don't believe in God?
That still doesn't matter. It's like...
It's still a right. It's still your body.
It's like
you should be allowed to control you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Not other people.
Sure, you can argue it's considered murder. Go for it. I don't care. It's the right of the woman to get rid of it.
If it's murder, then I'm a murderer, you know?
Exactly.
That sort of thing.
But, like, at the same time, it's like...
Stop using Lysol on your countertop.
Also, like, things like rape. Like, if abortions get banned, if somebody gets, like, raped...
Oh, yeah, especially if, like, a 12-year-old gets raped and they're pregnant.
They have to they still have to bear the child. And
yeah, and then that's like, automatic cesarean section.
I saw this thing.
Which is expensive and painful and hard to recover from.
Guess what?
Huh. Chicken butt.
You will get sent to prison longer for giving an abortion than someone gets for raping you and making someone pregnant.
Really?
So, if for say somebody would, big R word, you have to censor that word, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
To say like grape, say grape.
The camera battery is about to die.
Okay, but like grape.
Oh, it just died.
Oh.
This is okay. This has happened before. We'll have a little black at the end.
Oh, it's back.
No, it's not. It's about to turn off again.
Oh. Anyways, so like, the dude will get sent less time in prison than the woman for getting an abortion, which is f***ed up.
That's whack.
So something that she did not consent to and forcefully happened to her, the dude is going to be free for the actions he did and caused her to, one, suffer mentally. Trauma-related incidents like that always occurs because you didn't want that to happen to you.
Yeah.
And
some guy just pulls you to the side and starts banging you.
When you wanted
censoring it.
When you wanted something to change and you didn't want to bear this burden, you get sent to prison. That gives you an even bigger burden. Now you're stuck with a permanent record. You have trauma, and there's no way to grow from that because, one, you're never probably going to be able to actually do anything good in the economy because now you have a permanent criminal record.
Yeah.
So now you have to like work at Walmart for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You can't change. It's fucked.
But you can still become president.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind, people. And with that, I think we end.
You can still become president even if you shot 16 people and murdered someone's grandma.
Yep, because the government says, nuh-uh, and then a bunch of people pay billions of dollars to you.
Yep. Okay. Anyways.
Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast.
Nope.